Hello everyone, my name is Borax, and I've been on a mission to play and rate every single champion in the support role. I'll be honest, recently I've been spoiling myself and you guys with decent picks, but get ready to see me suffer, as today we'll be looking at Sivir, and the reasons she could work include a chance to kite with her passive, decent AoE poke and early damage with her Q, an auto reset on her W, the ability to block key spells with her E, and then her ultimate, which grants everybody nearby a lot of movement speed. Her lack of CC is a huge concern truthfully, and her only utility for her teammates comes from her ultimate, so how good could she actually be in the support role? Well, let's find out together, as I rate Sivir, the Battle Mistress, on her ability to be played in the support role.
I always take my toll, blood or gold.
Yes, Sivir has no CC, but she does actually do a lot of damage level 1 with her Q ability that also has crazy good range. What I found to be an effective strategy is to look for some early harass while the enemies are trying to do their buff, but you want to make sure that you are doing this against opponents that have a terrible level 1 and can't really fight back. Because I was able to do this cheese early on, I'll actually give Sivir a B- for her quasi ability to invade. You most likely won't get a kill, but at least you can start your harass early, as that's all you can do as a Sivir support. Now let's talk about laning, where I like to judge a champion based on 3 categories: poking, peeling, and all-inning. Having ranged auto attacks is nice in the support role, and again, Sivir's damage level 1 is pretty fat if you can hit that Q ability. When you pick these off-meta supports, people's brains kind of turn off as they expect you to be useless, but truthfully, until people back with gold, you do as much damage as you normally would on Sivir. You want to throw out your Q and then chase with autos thanks to your passive granting you movement speed so that you can keep weaving in damage while kiting. Be careful though of enemy supports punishing you later on once they get more abilities. Also, a huge drawback of Sivir's poke damage is that you will accidentally take farm while trying to poke, and that's not ideal at all. For poking, I will give Sivir an A+. It's pretty crazy level 1 and 2, but it quickly starts falling off a cliff because if you don't get any kills, your damage won't really be increasing a lot, while the enemy's damage will be increasing, and you have to start being really scared that they will just walk up and kill you. The way you prevent this is by properly peeling, and boom, just like that we have our first major issue on Sivir's support. Pre-level 6, she has no way to peel for others outside of dishing out damage, and you aren't tanky yourself, so it's not a great idea to get the enemies to focus you instead. The ways you can peel is by blocking a skill shot with your spell shield, and then waiting for your ultimate ability, which is actually a great peeling tool as the movement speed will usually be enough for you to get away, but it's not enough for me to give Sivir anything higher than a D+ for peeling. The problem with ulting away as your only peel tool is that this means now you can't ult in, as the only way you can do that is by ulting people in. I mean, if you are poking hard enough, then you can choose to all in with your super long range, which is rather nice, but the chances of you being able to do that only go down as the lane progresses. For all inning, I will give Sivir a D rating. Her spell shield can't help her here, and for that reason I will take her plus away that she got in peeling. Now that we've talked about Sivir's laning prowess, I would normally rate the matchups that she might have to face, but truthfully, Sivir support is a pure meme pick, and pure meme picks are only playable in lanes against enchanters, as you are less likely to chain int, as well as supports who have terrible laning phases, but then you get outscaled, so be wary of that. In terms of ADCs that you can play with Sivir support, the only right answer is someone who is chill enough not to instantly want to give up the game, and then maybe you can have a chance if the opponents are way worse than you. Just because I'm playing a total meme pick doesn't mean that my support instincts go out the window. If you are super duper pushed up as a fizz without mana, then I will find you and flash exhaust you in order to secure the kill for my team. But overall for roaming, I will give Sivir's support a D-. No CC, super squishy, and being purely ult reliant does nothing to excite me as a roam fan. Let's give Sivir a rating for her ability to support in the early game, which will slot at a C-. And yes, that purely is because her poke is legit enough for you to have some sort of impact on lane, and with your spell shield you do have a chance to maybe not insta-die to opponents, but trust me, lane is your best chance to shine because it only gets worse as we go to the...
I'll fight for a cause. I won't die for one.
In the late game, responsibilities of a support I like to rate include their ability to get picks and to teamfight. If you are still watching this video at this point, then honestly you're a freaking legend, and I appreciate you sticking around, and I'm trying my best to give good analysis, but for the rest of these categories, all I can really say is Sivir's ultimate is good, and without it, all you provide is some damage. For getting picks, I will give Sivir a D-, and that's because you are most likely going to be the one getting picked rather than doing the picking off. Now let's talk about team fighting, where a support's responsibilities include engaging, peeling, and sometimes dealing damage. Sivir's ult is pretty decent at engaging. If the rest of your team is somehow fed, then a Sivir ult might be all they need to get in there and win the fight. You know what, I might sound crazy, but I'll give Sivir a whopping D+ for her ability to engage. But at this moment I just realized that playing Sivir Support is like having an extra Shirilia's Battle Song for your team. Yikes. Okay fine, I'll drop it down to a D rating instead. For peeling, I think Sivir deserves a D- again. It's using her ult so that maybe people can run away from death with the movement speed, and if they can't, well, rip them. Oh my god, finally, dealing damage, something Sivir can actually do. If you somehow have a lead because of laning phase, then you can do some decent damage, and in some of the games I played, I was near the top of the damage chart. But the damage is nothing too crazy, truthfully, but compared to other supports, I think I can still give her an A- at least, because I mean sure I can outduel this Alistar, but who couldn't? Before we look at Sivir's overall ability to support, let's look at the runes and items that I would recommend. Two options I tried here. Comet to enhance your poke, but sadly without a slow, it's not guaranteed to hit. I think Dark Harvest is your best option, as that means you can also take Ultimate Hunter, so at least you have the one support tool in your kit up more often. Now let's talk about items. For your gold income item, you should take Spectral Sickle every time. But Borax, aren't you going to address the fact that Sivir's Q scales with AP? Yes I am. I'm also going to complain that it's only 50%, so it's not even good, which makes me very sad. I also usually built an early tier so that I could spam my Q more often without going which will happen quite frequently. Then, you want to go for your boots, and I think Ionian Boots of Lucidity will be your best option, as that means you have more CDR for your ult. Instead of a Mythic, I would rush an Umbral Glaive so that at least you can clear enemies' vision, which is nice. Now, most of my games were actually over by now, as either they FF'd or we FF'd, but if the game does continue, I would build more utility with an Executioner's Culling, and then you can work towards either completing a Muramana, Serpent's Fang, or building a Shirilia's Grudge to get a slow on your Q, and thankfully it only costs 3,200 gold. Now that we've talked about the runes and items, let's give Sivir an overall rating for her ability to support, which will slot at a D. Her ulti is intriguing, but it's not enough to make her viable by any means. It will still be useful though if you are hard smurfing, because you can bully bad players in lane, but that's all you can do sadly. Would I recommend you play Sivir Support? Not with randoms, no, unless you are playing on a smurf account and are in the mood for something really troll. It's actually pretty fun if you enjoy a challenge, so I have no regrets playing it, but I do feel bad for my teammates who had to endure my little experiment. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and would leave it a like, that would be amazing, and if you consider subscribing, that would make my day. Next video will be on Galio support, as that's what you guys voted for, and I'm looking forward to that. Again, thanks for watching, and I want to wish you good luck and have fun if you're playing Sivir Support. You will definitely need it.